we included $3.6 billion to ensure safe air travel and for vehicle and highway safety programs. We cut emissions, improved resiliency, and addressed inequities while creating and sustaining tens of thousands of jobs. We fought the climate crisis and generated economic opportunities for working and middle-class families. And we made strong investments in our districts through community projects. We included an overwhelming majority of requests from Democrats and Republicans through the Department of Transportation, a total of 773 projects. These projects meet the urgent needs of so many of our constituents. To build on this success, the President's request for DOT includes $27.8 billion in discretionary funding to create a safer, more equitable, and a more modern transportation system. If I can just touch on just a few of the programs important to my community in Connecticut. To make our rail infrastructure safer, more efficient, the request increases funding for Amtrak's Northeast Corridor, including the Hudson Tunnels to meet the needs of our nation's busiest and most complex rail corridor. And you increase funding through the Consolidated Rail Infrastructure and Safety Improvements, CRISI, program to make significant advancements to the safety of our rail network. You also plan to make important investments to address the roadway safety crisis, including the critical funding that would accelerate the development, and this is an area I've written to you about, of the use of female dummies in crash testing. This will start to fight the gender inequity among vehicle safety and crash victims. This budget also builds upon and helps actualize the critical investments in the President's historic bipartisan infrastructure law. Before I conclude, I would just like to mention my worry over only some of my Republican colleagues' calls for drastic cuts to government funding. Yesterday, Speaker McCarthy introduced a bill to cut funding back to the 2022 levels and to impose caps for the next 10 years. Please, let's not make a mistake. Caps are just more cuts. And as you mentioned in your letter to me on the impact of these cuts, they would set our progress back significantly. Let me read some of them to you. Following the catastrophic derailments in eastern Ohio and West Virginia, rail safety jobs would be dramatically reduced, with 11,000 fewer safety inspection days and 30,000 fewer miles of track which is inspected annually. After recent near misses, our air travel would come to a halt, with 125 air traffic control towers shutting down, impacting 1/3 of all U.S. airports. The cuts are devastating. The safety of our communities and our transportation infrastructure depends on strong investments, which in a bipartisan way we have been able to do in the last 2 years, in 2022 and in 2023. We should continue to move in that direction. I thank you again, Mr. Secretary, for all of your work. And with that, Chairman Cole and Ranking Member Quigley, I yield back. Thank you so much.